Hello, guys. This is Alex Julian, or Aloysius Anderman here. It does seem to me, in a lot of the old Wild West here, that people around here are afraid to show their real beauty. And I think it is because maybe, people are using the same words for too long or having the same whatever too long and such. Um, you know, and like there would be issues of just like the problems of having this way go that way. Definitely, I did have some teachers and leaders and managers in the past that were what I would call equality fanatics, where they think that equal signs need to be located everywhere and that there could be nothing depressing, nothing under the radar, nothing over the top, nothing out of place, no negativity, no unique kind of positivity. I have been watching a lot of TV tonight, and I'm starting to fear things of what's going on. But yeah, um, it is that issue of just that whole thing of just you know, like there are people in California who are afraid of the past because, well, I'm not sure if you guys know this from mentioning this um, in your art on David Art, but California's history of evil cowboys was very real. And definitely my clues about those aliens and ointments and such were very real. Very real to just really, really miserable sort of stuff. Yeah. Like, like the blues that seem to go down forever and ever and ever and ever, that kind of thing. Like that go really, really low. Yeah. And it's possible to reach equality through false means or false numbers or false problems or false calculations. Because equality just means that, one end is the same as the other end, but it's like, well, okay, well then how did they get there and why? So, you got to think about like how there's that whole thing of the tree, just the tree in general. You know, like I went to a church here in town last year, and I donated crayons to them. And when I attended that church the next time, they seemed to be very, very hateful and ungrateful of it. And I think what it is that there are cults around here in the Kern region. I've talked to some people of certain cults, such as like the cult of some South Korean theory about who the Son of God is, or maybe like a theory about like a Christianity that exists without the cross, towards the East Asian hemisphere. Um, I've talked to those people about like astrology and such, about like how their numbers fit on the other numbers. Um, and but yeah, you see, a lot of literature here in California is dead. I'm not sure if you've seen this in a lot of the West here. Like whether you go to Nevada or Arizona or Oregon or whatever, but a lot of the West can seem like those suspicious icicles from the Eastern Roman Constantinople stuff, like the stuff that was like really down under the ground, where it's like instead of like a hell inferno, it's more like a hell ice age, where it's like instead of overbaking, it's underbaking, and yeah, and definitely with my exposure. in my news about the corruption of the circumcision practices here in the state. It's obvious that there were issues of medical malpractice. There were. And I think the reason I avoided a lot of it was because I watched a lot of old TV programs and stayed isolated and thought about stuff better to know how to express myself by the time the internet comes, So, I do that whole ridiculous, fake, stupid, retarded circus thing about, virtual boys with long bunny legs. Okay, that was a bad joke, but I thought it was an interesting thing because whenever I would go into a mall, maybe my dad would say, I'm not really interested in these clothing stores because it's kind of like going up a rabbit cage and such. And my dad would not like so much of these kinds of stores in the mall where it's like there are a lot of the same cubes and same squares and same circles, and they're so small and there's often not much product in them. And hey, what's wrong with a glitter glue here, or what's wrong with just something unique, whatever it is, even if it may just be anything. And it does have me concerned that there was literary persecution here. I already know this because I have heard from retro gamers on the internet, on other video game reviewing websites, that their dialects were being discriminated against. And it was kind of weird. It was like they would take a blanket that would have like a plain white neutral surface, and they would use this neutral blanket to cover a rainbow, and they would try to tell you that the rainbow is not there, even though they took advantage of the rainbow to put the neutral blanket there. And, like you could see me here with my get out here. I mean, just so you know, like, do you know where I get this from? Like this astrological blue marble thing for the mule? This is a lucky charm from a Jamaican store I got from a mall in Valencia, California, so, and I have this and this and this and this, and, I think it's just, people often just in California, the problem with a lot of California is like, the sidewalks are just not as good as like New York's or even like Sacramento's. Even in Sacramento, I was able to spark some really, really good conversations because there were enough sidewalks that would meet end to end. But like when it comes to like here in Tehachapi, it's like, or even just currents, like, it could get so hot and everything, and water gets expensive. Often people cannot get enough food and enough drink. Even leading churches may worry about when their next sack of peanut butter and jelly lunch is going to come from. I think, and for that reason, I think it is possible that art can go extinct in certain areas. And I'm only able to bring a lot of my creativity here with my art on DavidArt and YouTube because, I have what I have with my experience of traveling around the world. And unfortunately, there were those sorts of parents who just were not very confident in talking to others. Because you have to remember, what it means to, let's say, vote for a candidate for politics. Well, it's possible to vote even if, there's nothing else to it. You got to think of, what colors and shapes and sizes are out there in the world, and with how, all this thing of nostalgia can distract us from the fact that, well, actually, we should really give people what they should deserve. And I'll be honest, a lot of people in the late 1800s and early 1900s just simply rushed into California with little opportunity to raise responsible generations of children, and when their children came up, they're basically like genderless donkeys in a lot of ways, where it's like they would just be not willing to show what they would really be, and even like the traditional values, they hesitate on. And I think a mistake that California made in the last 100 years was being too confident that everything was fine in the West here without actually approaching the other areas around here and such. Because it is what it is, if you know. But anyways, I do hope you enjoy your visit on DeviantArt and YouTube tonight and such, and hopefully the art industry and movie industry will improve over the years. And you take care, and who knows? Maybe there's another Blue's Clues somewhere, Who knows? You take care. Have a good one.